Welcome to this Greg's Bass Shed lesson. Today we're going to be looking at how to play a rake on the bass guitar. I'm going to explain what it is and in what situation you use a rake and how to practice it and kind of perfect the technique. For this lesson I've put together 4 exercises that will help you to master the rake, and I've also put together a funky groove. Now you can use this kind of loop for all the exercises. You would have heard me play to that in the introduction, and I'm going to leave the loop running at the end of this video so you have a chance to play along with it without my bass line. And all the exercises are on a free PDF booklet. That's got tab and standard notation. You can get that by clicking the link below this video, so grab that now because you'll need it for the lesson. Rakes aren't a particularly difficult technique to master, but don't avoid using them because they're really useful when you're playing fast little descending licks and certain bass lines, but I'll explain more in the lesson. A rake is where you play consecutive notes on different strings just using one finger in your plucking hand, so something like this. Okay, slowly, I'm just using my second finger. So you try that. So what I'm doing is I'm going down the octave, so put your first finger on D, 5th fret of the A string, and then the 5th with your third finger, which is the 7th fret of the D string, and then the octave, which is the 7th fret of the G string with your little finger. But we're going backwards, okay? So that's it slowly. Now if we focus in on my right hand, we can see that I'm using my second finger. You can use your first finger as well. Okay? So you can use either fingers for the rake, but the important thing is to play just one finger and your plucking hand for all 3 notes. Okay, now sometimes when you're playing a rake you can just play rake, say the first 2 notes. So I'm doing 2, 2, 1 with my plucking hand. Okay, but lots of rakes kind of easier generally if you just play all 3 notes with your with one finger. Now you have to be coming down the bass descending for a rake to work. You can't kind of do it the other way. So what I want you to do now is just to practice this rake on different notes, but just do this pattern. So you're doing octave, 5th and root. So we did it on D. Okay, you can do it on C. Okay, once you've got it, you can speed it up. Okay, and you can do it on G. Okay, so try that first of all. Try using your second finger first and then your first finger, and try it on starting all different root notes around the bass. The reason that we sometimes use a rake is that in certain situations it's much more effective for playing fast notes. Okay, so if we look at the bass line for the start of I Shot the Sheriff, the Bob Marley version, we've got this kind of run. So this is the same pattern that I've been showing you. So it just starts on E flat. Okay, so we go down. Now if you're playing that, it's fairly fast actually, up to tempo. Somewhere around there. Okay, now you'll get into trouble if you try and play that just not using a rake. I can't actually play it without not using a rake. So that's a prime example. And now I prefer doing that rake with my second finger, and then I'm ready with my first finger on the D for that. But just use what's comfortable, okay? Okay, sometimes you do with your plucking hand 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. Another example of a rake is in the bass line from Shadows in the Rain by Sting. So I'll just play it a bit for you now and I'll show you where the rake is. So we've got So we've got this bar here. Okay. So So if you try and play that not using a rake, it's really difficult. Okay, so much easier with a rake. So that's another example. So basically it's up to you where you use a rake, but if you're playing a tricky bass line and you've got something descending like that, you've got like this riff here, okay, now you've got different types of notes. You don't just have to have that octave fifth root pattern, but if you find yourself playing something and you're finding it tricky, your fingers are getting mixed up when you're plucking hand, then try and put a rake in and see if that solves it. So you've got these kind of triplets in jazz walking, which are gospel walking, so rakes are really useful there too. So definitely try them out if you're finding something difficult. So how do you get proficient at playing rakes? Well, the answer is always to slow things down, okay? So I'm going to give you 4 exercises now to help you to work on your rakes. Now, if you're enjoying this video, then make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. So you can do that by clicking the red subscribe button here. Now, all these exercises can be played to the loop that I've made up. Now, that's at 90 BPM, but what I suggest is that the exercises that I'm about to show you, that you can play them really slowly, really well with an even rake before you start playing it to the backing track, because you might just have to do it really slowly first of all, so make sure you don't skip that step. So you want to get these rakes really even, and that's what's tricky first of all when you play them. So this loop just uses a bar of A minor and a bar of D minor, so that just goes round and round and round, so it's quite easy to remember what the chord progression is. Now, I've written all these exercises down on the PDF, remember. You can get that by clicking the link below this video in the description, and you'll need it now for this next part of the lesson. So if you haven't got it, then pause the video, just fill out the form and you'll get that straight away. Now, exercise 1, we're just kind of using the root first, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're using that pattern that we had before, the octave fifth root. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're playing on 1, off, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we do the same pattern on D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'll just play that a few times and you can join in. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now if you're looking at the PDF and you're wondering, you're not sure, the brackets that you've got at the start of each exercise is with the 2 dots. They're repeat marks. So what you do for all these exercises, well, exercises 1, 2 and 3, is that you play it through and then you just repeat it again. Okay, now if the person writing it wants you to kind of keep repeating it, then they'll write how many times in a little box, say 3 times, 4 times, or round and round, or vamp, something like that. Okay, but this just means play it twice. Okay, now once I've shown you how to play all 3 of these exercises, I'll play them to the loop so you can hear how they sound. Okay, so that's exercise 1, so don't move on until you can play this rake really well. So remember, you can use when you're plucking hand your second or your first finger. Okay, now on to exercise 2. So it's the same thing, we're just adding some extra notes in. So on beat 4 we've got C, C sharp leading up to the D, and then on beat 4 of the second bar we've got G, G sharp leading up to the A. Okay, so I'll just play it for you. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just making exercise 1 just a little bit more interesting. Okay, so play along with it with me. So 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, now when we go on to exercise 3, we've got a slightly different rake for the D minor bar. Okay, so I'll just play it for you. 3, 4. So the first bar is the same as exercise 2, and And then we've got the D. When we come back down, okay, we're playing octave, fifth, and then down to C, okay? And then D, G, okay? So, again. Okay, so try that first of all and then try it with me. So you can pause the video, just see if you can get this bit. Okay, so that's a bit tricky, but you'll need this for exercise 4. Okay, so try the whole thing with me. Exercise 3, 3, 4. Okay, so that's exercise 1, 2 and 3. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play them all straight through with the loop so you can hear how it sounds with this funk loop. So remember that we've got repeat bars, so each exercise you're just going to repeat once and then move on to the other one. So I'm going to play them in a continuous line, all exercises 1, 2 and 3. So have a listen to that and watch my hands if you need to. Remember, I'm going to put this loop without me playing at the end of the video so you can use that to practice to yourself. So now on to exercise 4. So I'm just kind of combining exercise 2 and exercise 3 here. So it's 8 bars long, okay? So what I'll do, I'll just play that to you now with the backing. Okay, so the first bar, you've seen that before, and then the second bar. Okay, so that's the same as exercise 3, and then we move on. Okay, and that's the same as exercise 2, and then this next bit is the same as exercise 3. And then this last bit is different. Okay, so that very last bar of exercise 4, you've got 3 rakes. D, C, G, and then you can repeat that back again if you want to A. Okay, so I'll just play you the last 2 bars. Okay, so that's a little bit tricky with the rakes, and it's a bit overkill. Kind of, you probably wouldn't do it like that in a normal bass line, but it gives you an opportunity to practice lots of these rakes. Okay, so what I suggest is that you work through these exercises from exercise 1. Make sure you can play that rake really evenly, really slowly first of all, and then gradually work your way through the different exercises. Once you've played 1, 2 and 3, I'd then look at the last 2 bars of exercise 4 and then put the whole thing together, because the rest of exercise 4 you've seen before in exercise 2 and 3. Okay, and you've got the loop to practice to at the end of this video in a minute. Make sure that you download the PDF below. It's got all this in tab and standard notation. Well, I hope now that you're more familiar with rakes and you know how to start practicing them. Let me know in the comments how you got on with this lesson, or if you've got any other bass lines that you think rakes would be useful in, anything that you've kind of struggled with or anything that you've spotted them in. And remember to like this video, that really helps me out, and to subscribe to my channel as well and click the notification bell. If you got value out of this lesson, then you can always buy me a coffee. This is the link on the screen here. You can type that in, or in the description you'll find the link. Just click on that and you can get me a coffee to say thanks for keeping these lessons and the PDFs free. Also, check out my website gbshed.com. I've got loads more bass resources there. I've got all my videos on there. I've got some free giveaways. I've got some details about my bass books and my bass courses, so go and check that out. There's loads of stuff on there. This is Greg from Greg's Bass Shed. Hopefully see you very soon in the next video.